Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, hello, this is Mano and welcome back to another video on my channel Mano Oresto. So normally I talk about handhelds and all that kind of stuff, but recently I've gotten more into collecting actual physical games, physical cartridges, mainly for the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy and Game Boy Color, because these are the games I just grew up with in my childhood, and that's just the platform that is nostalgic to me. So, and I'm very fortunate that I have still um, my old games from my childhood. Yeah, I am in a lucky possession of those games back from my childhood. As you can see, as a collector, I started to put my games or like the boxes into these um, plastic entrapments. So yeah, so that they're just sturdy, they hold longer. They're in quite good shape. You will see. I will show them one by one. And as you can tell, it's five and five more. It's in total 10 games I had in my childhood. Maybe one doesn't really count because it's a bootleg game, but it's I still played it a lot nonetheless. It was still a lot of fun to me, and I have definitely plenty of memories. So before I start just talking about my games, I would like to show you also. I even have this also still complete in box. It's not really authentic, completely that authentic because put them to the top because I actually modified my original Game Boy Advance. I never, in my childhood, never had the Game Boy Advance SP or the Micro. I remember I had two older cousins who both had the Game Boy Advance SP, the first version, the AGS 001. We all know that was the front-lit model. That one I was a bit jealous of because you could play it in the dark. I remember we went on holidays with my cousins, like when we were children, and then of course in the plane we were flying by plane, and in the plane of course we had to close the windows shut so that people could sleep and so on. And I remember I really wanted to play Game Boy Advance, but I couldn't because the original Game Boy Advance, it's also the cool indigo color, the iconic one, as same as the GameCube. So yeah, in the plane it was totally dark, and I wasn't able to play any of my Game Boy games because or Game Boy Advance games because yeah, it was too dark. And my cousins, they were playing their Game Boy Advance SPs like it was just normal, and I was really jealous. But I still so now I have Game Boy Advance SPs, and later on my little sister, she got a AGS 101 Game Boy Advance SP, which is really cool. And actually, my mother still plays Tetris on that one to this day. Still to this day. My mother doesn't play anything else. She isn't much of a video game enthusiast. She rather dislikes them because they're pricey. Yeah. Especially, I don't want to say, but there's a certain company that asks plenty of money for the video games. I'm not telling any names here, but the only game my mother plays is a certain game which is called Tetris, and she plays the Game Boy version Tetris on the Game Boy Advance SP because it's not that hard on the eyes because it has a backlight. Anyways, so just a thing I just want to mention before I just wanted to show you my old Game Boy Advance. Oh yeah, as you can see. Can you see it? Yeah. It was back then 87 euros. I don't remember which year it was. But it was really weird. I remember it was just, I was just, it wasn't even my birthday, but it was, yeah, just my father coming home and just like after school, I just was eating lunch, and then my father just gave me a Game Boy Advance. There might be some more, tragic motives behind that, or like some dark memories buried in that memory. But but anyways, I got when I was a child, I got my Game Boy Advance, and it was such a companion. I played it so much because one thing, I never really had that many like home console games. Like we had the PS1, and that was it. We never got like anything else after that. So when the PS2 came, or like the Wii, or anything, GameCube, or whatever, I never had this. So that's why I grew up more with yeah, handheld games and handheld consoles. So that's why they are more nostalgic to me, much more dear to me. That's why I also like to collect all those Chinese handheld emulation handhelds, because they feel like more home to me rather than a big console like, I don't know, from Sony, the PS5 or something. I still even never got a PS5. That's that. Anyways, okay, let's take a look. Because I put it here back in because it was before I did it, put it somewhere else. But yeah, this is my Game Boy Advance now. I did a mod to it, and to be honest, I kind of regret it because it was back then. It was like 2016 or something, and back then like mod kits weren't that easy or like that all over the place. There was no funny playing or something. There was no, I don't know what's now. There wasn't like a AGS1 101 mod kit version 5 Tetra Omega. There was just one mod kit from Rose Colored Gaming or something, was it? And they also sold pre-modded GBAs, but they were always expensive. And I thought, yeah, you know what? Why don't I just try to mod it myself? And I just didn't have that much money at the time, so I got the cheapest mod kit I could find, which was a backlit mod kit, but still it was from China, and it has severe ghosting issues. And I kind of get dizzy when I play it. When I play it, showed some footage in one of my other videos. You can check it out somewhere, probably here. But yeah, so it has severe ghosting. That's why, especially like text-heavy games, like JRPGs or something, or any type of RPGs, even a platformer, is kind of hard to play on it. I could, of course, reverse it, but I gotten kind of old and kind of lazy. That's why I don't mod stuff anymore. Back then, I modded plenty of handhelds, guys. That's maybe a thing for another video, showcasing other handhelds I modded, like case modded. But yeah, if you're interested, just leave a comment that you're interested in other handhelds I had, or I modded, or I like customized, because that I went to a phase, that kind of phase. Anyways, that's my Game Boy Advance from my childhood, which was super cool. I never had like a cool proper battery pack, so I always used AA batteries, which was kind of annoying. I had this battery pack which you had to use an AC adapter with, so it wasn't really a battery, like an akku, like a chargeable battery. It was more like you have always had to play at the electro dock, at the wall plug, yeah, whatever you call it. Anyways, so yeah, this was my Game Boy, the original Game Boy Advance. I played since my childhood. I really can't remember how old I was. Probably like 7, 8? I don't know. Okay. As I told you, my core memory, my canon memory, you would say, maybe some of it would be called like that in a Spider-Man movie, my canon event, was that I got the Game Boy Advance after lunch, after school, after lunch, and my dad gave it to me randomly. He also, with the Game Boy Advance, he also gave me one game. That was my very first video game. Not video game, but very first Game Boy Advance game, which was Atlantis. Okay, yeah, and you can see, oh my gosh, the prices, 29.95 euros. So it's based, of course, on the movie. Yeah, we've got German, Auf der Suche nach der verlorenen Stadt, and at the bottom French, À la recherche de l'empire perdu. Yeah, crazy, huh? My French skills, how are they? And yeah, of course, it's based on the movie. I don't remember if I even watched the movie at the time. I remember that my older sister, I have two sisters, my older sister, she went for her birthday to the cinema and watched Atlantis with her friends. And I think I wasn't old enough to watch it. Maybe it was even I don't remember. Or maybe it's just that the reason just that was that my older sister didn't want me to didn't want her little brother to be also there with her friends only. Which is totally fine looking back at it, but I might have watched it, Disney movies, they always appear in on TV or something and on the weekends or on Friday 2015 prime time, you know how it is. And the thing is, most of my games as a child, I've never beaten them because I was young and I was dumb and I was really not skillful. And I remember, so you can see, okay, focus. You can see like here this platforming level and this one I remember, and this one as well. But these two, I've never seen them. I've never reached that far in the game that I was ever able to see either Atlantis or these two levels. Because I just sucked. I was so bad as a child. I remember this was like this was the first level, this was the second, and I remember, or the third one, I think I managed to go to the third one, but the third one had like a time limit stuff where there were like these boilers and you have to kind of vent them out or release air out of them to so otherwise they will explode or something and you will fail the level. And this was like, yeah, it had a time limit, and yeah, I don't want to say Metroidvania-esque, but there was this level, it was like a bigger one, and you had to find those boilers. So yeah, I've never seen either of those two levels. I've never seen Atlantis in this game. Yeah, and to be honest, I never really liked that game that much. Because, was I able to read back then? I don't know. I don't know. Probably I was, but really not that good and also too lazy to read. So, which brings me to my next game. The next game, to be honest, I don't really remember after Atlantis the correct order of which game I got when, if it is everything correct. But I kinda sorted them how I would think it kinda went. So might be my memories might be blurred, but anyways. So basically, the next game is from a certain Sega mascot you probably know, which is the infamous hedgehog. This the fastest hedgehog alive, and this was even pricier. This was 45.95 euros, of course. And yeah, this game I also really loved, but to be honest, as a child, never beat it. Even I gotta admit, to this day, haven't even beaten it. But I still really loved it. I think for me, the run killer, you could say, as a child was definitely, I think, the fourth world or level, how you would call it, scene, act, I don't know. because it was this ice level, and in that one, yeah, you would need to go underwater, and we all love underwater levels, right? And even the boss fight is underwater, which means yeah, you could just die because you could drown if you don't get any air. But even though I didn't finish this game, so I told you I have an older sister, and she beat the game, and she 100%ed it. She totally, and also there's Chow Garden, and she like made every stats like of the Chow go up like to 99 and so on. So my sister is 5 years older than me, and of course she's she was more intellectual, you could say, and she played this game, played in like every situation, also earned the Chaos Emeralds, and played through the game with all the characters. Because yeah, as you can see, we have not only Sonic, we have also Knuckles, Tails, and Amy. And yeah, of course, as a child, I never really liked playing with Amy, but now I know. Okay, my sister showed me also back then that actually the ice level, the boss level of the ice, is pretty good with Amy, because you could just, because Amy has with a Pico Pico hammer, she has like this high jump, and she could attack Dr. Eggman. Yeah, here he was already called Dr. Eggman, because we all know Robotnik is a bad word. Yeah, and to be honest, I always, and just a side note, I always loved Sonic. I always was a fan of the games, even though I was, as a child, I was really dumb and never beat any Sonic game, but I still enjoyed them nonetheless. And I don't know if anybody remembers this, but Sonic Underground was one of my most favorite cartoon series back at the time. Most people would say associate like maybe a Sonic series with Sonic X or something. Or there was even this very old Sonic series that was like early in the mornings in children's TV program, where Sonic, after every episode, I don't remember even what the plot was. There was Sonic and Tails. It was really old. The art style was also like not this art style. It was more like the, I don't know, 90s art style of Sonic, like the Sonic 1, 2, 3, like Sonic and Knuckles and so on, from the from the Mega Drive games, you could say. This kind of art style where Sonic was more chubby, not with attitude. Yeah. There was like always, after every episode, at the end, there was like this small scenario in which was, I think, probably like He-Man, where Tails made something careless, and then Sonic told him, yeah, you should have done this. If, for example, if you go somewhere by yourself, never go by yourself somewhere. Always, if you have a parent, tell your adult or teacher or something, your parent, that you're going off somewhere, so they know where you are, so they don't have to look for you. And something like, something educational. That was like the old series, but then there was Sonic Underground, which I really loved, because Sonic and had like two siblings, like one one green brother and a pink sister, and they were like in a band, which was crazy. Yeah, and Sonic Underground, and I really enjoyed this cartoon. One of my favorite cartoons from back in the time. I also love to draw Sonic. I, even to this day, sometimes when I when I have to write like a happy birthday card for someone, or even at work in the office, when there was like a happy birthday card, I drew a Sonic randomly, but just why not? Why not? It's because Sonic is always there for you. Okay. Now to another game that was not really on my favorites list, but I'm pretty thankful that I got it nonetheless, because it's called Planet Monsters, and yeah, So Planet Monsters is one of those Titus games. I remember that there were like always these Titus games that were really cool. Or no, not really cool, but they were always like a little bit cheaper, you know, in the electronics store or electronics section wherever we bought it, and there. So always when we went shopping or something as a family, I always like up to my parents, oh, can we buy a Game Boy Advance game, please, please? And the thing was, of course, they kind of said, yeah, okay, but you know what? This time only from the discounted section. Okay, and I was like, oh, okay, what can should I choose? And then I chose this one because this guy had a gun. And I was, oh yeah, I want to shoot stuff, and it's really cool. But you know, it's a decent game. It's more like you could kind of say it's like a Bomberman, except that you don't have bombs. You have like you are in an arena like Bomberman, but you have these tiles, this like wall tiles that you can kick around, and then you can use this to shoot your enemies. And there are these monsters at the background, and it's kind of misleading because in a level there's like 4 guys like these, and you win by killing the other guys that look like these, but they have different color. But there are also on this level, there are these monsters roaming around, and they're just there to disturb you. They're just there to, if you touch them, you just die. They're just a hindrance. And the main objective is to kill the other guys that look like you. And they can also kill you, of course. And there's like these items, these power-ups, like these these guns, or like there's also like a time stop, time freeze power up you can use. But the thing is, the other guys that look like you, they can also use those, and so it can get really hard. But yeah, so yeah, it's a nice little game. But to be honest, when I played it as a child, I was kind of disappointed because I thought there would be more crazy action than there was. Yeah, but it was again one of those games which I was too dumb for. I think it was just my age. I just wasn't mature enough to play these kind of games that were challenging, at least for me. So in the end, yeah, again, my older sister, she just beat the game. Not for me, but she beat the game, and I still saw the final boss. Yeah. Yeah, Planet Monsters. It's a really fun game. Really fun game. But I was still, as a child, still disappointed because I thought, yeah, well, it wasn't that what I imagined. Because, you know, back then we didn't have at least I didn't really have the internet. I was just going by these screenshots and kinda what the text said. And I don't know, and it was, I only had the selection of the options of the discounted games, so so probably this was the best option for me, I guess, at the time. But I was also not the best in decision making as a child. Yeah, we all make mistakes, right? Anyways, the next game is also a Titus game, which, as you can tell, I always try to pry off these barcode labels or something, which wasn't really successful. And I did try this on this game as well, which I really regret, because look at this. This looks now screwed. This is Prehistoric Man, and to be honest, this is a very, very beautiful game. If you look at the graphics, yeah, this is really a really nice looking. Oh, okay. Wanted to adjust the light, but okay, made it worse. Really a nice game, which, to be honest, even with the help of my sister, we didn't really beat the game. It was really hard. There was like later on, like levels, like we all. Okay, to be honest, I don't remember reaching this level with the ghosts, But I definitely, this is fairly in the beginning, which I also beat, which is a really fun level. We have this kite, and the kite mechanic is really cool. But then there's also like really challenging levels like this one, where at the bottom there's like a volcano is erupting, and you have always like in a certain time intervals this fire rising, and if it touches you, you're just instantly dead. Or maybe not, I don't quite remember, but anyways, it's really, you shouldn't mess with it. So you always had to climb up somewhere to reach a higher point to avoid getting caught by the fire. And yeah, this game is a really cool platformer, and I'm as a child, especially, I also liked more like games where you can fight and kind of beat up enemies, and this was pretty much right on it, because you had your mace, your club, your prehistoric club, and you could beat up those enemies, but it was still pretty difficult. So I never really beat it. I think maybe on the internet, so it had a password system, and maybe
Oh
we
no.
just checked the passwords for the final level on the internet. Probably not, because I don't remember doing that. But yeah, overall, really cool game. I actually, this is one of the games I'm really intrigued to try again and play again, and kind of try to finally beat it, because it's like the art style. Now I know it's based on or it's like a port of a SNES game, and there's even a Game Boy version of it. And yeah, I think it looks actually really nice. Yeah, this is Prehistoric Man. Definitely check it out. Out of the ones, let's say out of these three, Sonic is definitely something. If you like Sonic games, you really will like 2D Sonic games. If you like 2D Sonic games, you definitely will enjoy this Game Boy, the advanced version, because it's really cool, and it has Chow Garden, a little tiny version of the Chow Garden. But still, Prehistoric Man, pretty nice game for what it is. The next one, as I told you, I really enjoyed fighting games, or like games with martial arts or something, because I always loved Jackie Chan movies, or always like Karate Kid, those movies, those kind of stuff. Yeah, martial arts is really cool and really dear to me. So how about a game where you go through the city and beat up a bunch of delinquents? It's Final Fight 1. And look at this, 1999. 1999. Yeah, Euros, of course. Sonderpreis means special offer or special price, to be exact. Yeah, this game, I have quite the memory. This game is actually something I actually beat. Yeah, as you can tell, I really like fighting. I like beating up people and so on. For example, there was even one time, I don't know how you call it in English, but communion. I grew up a Catholic, Christian, and there is this thing in Catholic Christianity, which is like the first communion, Erstkommunion, okay, in my language. So, and it's a big thing. It gets celebrated, and you see all your relatives and friends come and to do stuff. And yeah, of course, there was also I was younger. I was like around 10 or something. And I remember that my cousins, like the cousins with the GBA SPs, they were older than me, 2 years. Yes, 2 years. And so I was again playing something, probably this. I don't remember if it was exactly this, but my cousins were more like, they played like, the Hamtaro game, or like the Finding Nemo games on Game Boy Advance or something. And I remember vividly that at my communion, how to say, my Erstkommunion, that one of my cousins, they're twins, one of them told me, you know, Manu, which is not my real name, but Manu, you know what? You have too many games with fighting. You should. You don't need to have any more games with fighting. There's too much fighting. Yeah, but the thing is, I just like fighting games. I like beating up people, random people, and especially delinquents, right? So, yeah, so this is probably one of the reasons why I even beat this game.
Wow.
And how I beat this game, actually, it wasn't really on my, it wasn't all my effort that beat the game. It was also with the help of another cousin, which is another cousin who's a boy this time, and he there was like during summer holiday, we went to visit my cousin, and yeah, I remember that we played it on my GBA. And we were taking turns after we died. He was also older than me, like 2 or 3 years.
Oh no.
And of course, he was more skilled. And together, we actually beat the game. And I think I'd never like deleted that save. So, so even, and the thing is, when you beat the game, you can pretty much select the levels. So I really got good at beating the last level even as a child. So yeah, basically that's how I beat the game, not on my own accord, but with the help of my cousin this time, because my older sister wasn't really interested in this because yeah, she wasn't that much into fighting. Didn't really click with her, so that was the thing. And really sad thing, to be honest, in my childhood I never really had the cool experience of a Game Link cooperative play, because this, if another person also had this game and another GBA SP, we could have played this together, I think. Yeah, GBA link cable supported. Yeah, this would have been really fun to play with another person. Maybe I get to do this sometime again with someone. Well, anyways, yeah, Final Fight 1, really love this game. I don't know, spoiler, if you spoiler, then skip. Skip. But you get the, I think from Street Fighter Alpha, you get the alpha version of Cody and the alpha version of Guy. You can unlock them. It's really cool because they're really strong. And their sprites look really modern in comparison to these ones. Because of course, now I know, of course, back then I didn't know, but this is actually a port of a Super Nintendo game. Back then I of course didn't know that, even though I told you we had the PS1, but we also had the Super Nintendo, but we did not have Final Fight 1. It would have been really cool because on their co-op was really easy. I probably would have played it with my siblings, but we never did. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. So we have the half. Fun fact: I don't know, I think I still know where my old or our old, because they're more from my father, Super Nintendo games are. I don't know if you're interested. Let me know, because yeah, I could also show them off. I just need to really find them, and also I dug years ago. I dug up my old Super Nintendo, my family Super Nintendo. I hope it's still there. But then I didn't really remember where I put it. It was in the basement. Then my aunt visited one time, and I thought, yeah, we could play it. And then it was like, okay, yeah, let's play it. But then we were like, oh, too lazy with all those cables, and maybe even there was a cable missing. I don't really remember. So we ended up not playing with the Super Nintendo. but the our old PlayStation instead. Yo, editing Mano here again. And okay, don't ignore my dirty, dusty screen. Anyways, editing the video. The thing is, I didn't recognize how long this video gets. As you can see here, it's like 1 hour 35 minutes already, and we're only halfway through. That's why I will split this video into 2 parts. And since we have the first 5 games, and yeah, in the next one I will discuss the second half. Yeah, the other 5 games. So stay tuned. Leave a like for now and subscribe if you don't want to miss the second half. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video so far, and let me know your games you played in your childhood in the comments. Always would like to know. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'd look into them. I check them out. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, but I'm really curious. Yeah, and if you have any stories about your video games as a childhood, or Game Boy Advance, I don't know. Yeah, leave them in comments. Give me something to read. Thank you. That's it for now. Bye. See you in the next video.